get this thing on the road. I want to get this out for you guys early. It's about 12 o'clock here for me, about 15 minutes going into market close. Got a busy day today, so I want to get this out. So I'll do my best to keep this quick, clean, and easy, and then I'll do a little bit of a trade recap. Starting with SPY. So I did post that live trading session. I highly recommend going to watch that. A lot of key insight in there on how to avoid fake outs, how to identify low probability days, and so on. I did label that as a cash day, and shortly after that, I did end up getting into a trade which was on SPY. So I will break down this trade on SPY. Good, quick little mini lesson here on focusing on your RR as well. So coming into today, right, I'll do a little bit of a session recap as well. Coming into today, 735 was our key level to watch. We know that. So my game plan, as I told everyone else, is if we hold 735, we can see it push back up into the previous day high and into the top of the range. If we get above that previous day high, we can't forget we had this very large gap down, pretty much, coming into yesterday's session. So it's pretty much just a gap fill play back to the upside. You can see we pushed up into that previous day high and we rejected. If we fall under 735, which did give a beautiful, nice break and reach, a lot of setups today actually on the higher time frame key levels happened later into the session. So you'll see that shortly here, like on the video on Tesla, even on Qs. Or, like I said, coming into today, if we break under 735, we can see a move lower. And that's exactly what happened. That was the thesis, right? You get under 735, sellers are in control. We'll see this thing lower. And we ended up dropping by, almost $5 here. So solid here. Key level did very, very well holding. Coming into market open to 735. And you can see very strong open here on the SPY. Now, what was the trade that I took? Which was, and this is just understanding liquidity. That's all this was. So, statistically speaking, if we break above the previous day high and we fall back under, sellers are going to push it back towards the previous day low. So when I see I was actually looking for a break and retest over the previous day high here, just because how strong the open was, how very well and strong we hold at 735. I was looking for that, pretty much that gap fill play back to the upside. So once I saw that, okay, we peaked above the previous day high and we fell right back under, I knew, okay, cool, that was a liquidity grab. It was a peak and fell. I expect sellers to step back in here and push this thing lower, because coming into today's session, the PDH and the PDL was both unmitigated. We did not sweep either one of those. So that was very important. So once I saw, all right, cool, we made a new high here and buyers couldn't hold above it, I said, yeah, if we fall back under this, I'm looking for a break and retest under the previous day high for that move lower. And I ended up taking it off this 802 candle. So quick little lesson here. As you can see, ended up taking this, always aiming for a 2-to-1, very solid trade. And the main lesson here is, so remember, right, yesterday, if you watched the pre-market plan coming into today's session, I ended up showing my trade that I took on NVIDIA. -1R, hard stop loss 5%. I took my trade, I went about my day. And then you can see today, I ended up taking a trade on SPY, aiming for a 2R trade or more. I sold into a momentum push. When I sold, I was roughly at $900. Ended up, being roughly 800, still fine. But the point is, you can see almost a 1.5R trade. That's a great trade, right? Always aiming for a 2-to-1. Today, my win was bigger than my loss yesterday. I made my money back and some. Up a little bit close to 2,000 on the week. Very slow week thus far. Can't speak too soon. Still early in the week, but that's why I'm not a very big fan when we have large gap ups or down in the market. Nevertheless, just want to give you a quick little insight on this is how, your equity curve should look, right? Up, you take a good loss, that's fine. You take a good win, it wipes out that loss. Slight pullback, that's fine. You take a good win, it takes out that loss. That's how your equity curve should look. It should not look like this. And then you go up and then you have a huge spike back down. That's not healthy. This is very healthy. And that's why I say you want to focus on your R multiple and not your P&L. So today, right, I was aiming for a 2-to-1. My win today was bigger than my loss yesterday. I took my base hit. I went about my day, quick scalp, perfect trade. So that was the trade that I took today on SPY. Going into tomorrow, now that that's all said and done, I just wanted to specify on that because on the live trading session that I posted, I did say today was a cash day. It was up until I ended the stream. So what are we looking for going into tomorrow? Well, you can see here now the market is starting to pull back here. The market is starting to pull back. I set this on the weekly outlook that we've been consolidating up here on the weekly time frame. And you can clearly see that. We've just been sitting sideways, really in between, the 760-ish area and 735. Today we're breaking under 735. We'll see what happens. But you can see in this general area on SPY, we've just been consolidating on the weekly. So today, what did we do today? We got the breakout here. We got the break of our key level, 735. That's the break. So what am I looking for tomorrow? Well, the retest for continuation lower. That's a very valid play. We got the break. Look for a pullback short off of 735 for that continuation lower. That's a very valid play. Or, you can look for your break and retest under the PDL, looking for that continuation lower back down to 725. If we get above, 735, and this is cool, right? Wicks to the damage body tells the story. That shows you how strong our 735 is. We had a solid push into here, into the previous day high, swept that liquidity, instantly rejected. So we still have this very large gap here that we created early in the week, pretty much coming into yesterday's session. So now you're really just looking for that continuation lower here on SPY. You can see we're clearly in a downtrend. You can see the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Last 6 trading days here has closed red bearish on the SPY. So far, we are moving lower. We pretty much having a gap and go technically. So let's see what we do. Let's see if this candle, the body of the candle, will close under the previous day's low candle. That would be a great indicator that price is likely to continue lower. But if you're looking to trade the SPY tomorrow, you're really just looking for that pop and fade off of 735 on the retest, or that continuation under the PDL targeting that 725 QQQ. So what are we looking for here on Qs? So I love the confluence here on Qs. You can see how strong our 704 is. All you have to do is look left. Ends up pulling back today, holding very strong as support. So if we get a short opportunity under that, that's a great confluence. Remember, you want to stack your edge. Confluence equals higher probability. That's what trading is. Finding high probability setups. We're also under the previous day low if that sets up. So that looks really good tomorrow. So that's going to be one of my main focuses here on Qs. Break and retest under 704. Coming into today's session, 714 was our key level here to watch. And you can see it did pretty well. It did very well actually, holding pretty much the first half of the session. We held very, very strong. We ended up pushing, looked like we were going to make our way up to 724. That was the pre-market game plan. If we hold 714, we can see it push back up into the top of the range over 724. If we get under 714, we can see it push lower. And you can see key level down to key level. We missed out by, 45 cents? So that played out beautifully there. If you zoom in here, I mean, that was a beautiful opportunity if you were able to catch that. And for this to be clean price action around 10 a.m., which is pretty much low volume during that time, this was amazing. You really had a nice trend lower here. So you got a nice break, good displacement, beautiful retest. You got 2 shots here off of 714. And you had a very nice downside play here on QQQ. So that was beautiful there, just seeing that key level get respected. So the high probability shot tomorrow for me, really for continuation lower, it's going to be under 704 just because you're also under the previous day low. So that's going to be something to watch. But what did we just do today? We broke this on the daily time frame. So this is our breakout on the daily. So tomorrow you're looking for that pop and fade off of 714. Why? Retest. That's the retest on the daily. So you can look for that. So pull back short off of 714, break and retest under 704. Tesla. So we knew Tesla, right? We knew, hey, Tesla's finally, looking like it's going to break this range. I was watching Tesla here. Like I said, I uploaded that live trading session. Just impossible for me to take that trade because the price action was terrible. But you can see we finally broke the range here. 383 on Tesla. It looks really good. If you go here on the 1 minute, you see exactly what I mean. I couldn't take that. There was no way I was touching that. Look at that. Terrible price action. Nevertheless, what do we do today? We got the breakout here on the daily. Finally, we got the range break here on Tesla. So what are we looking for tomorrow? Pull back short off of 383. That's the break and retest 383. So that's what I will be looking for tomorrow on Tesla. Break and retest off of 383 back to the downside. Well, today we got the break, so I'm looking for the retest. Excuse me. Retest on the weekly, actually. Pardon me. Weekly, there we go. So looking for the pullback short off of 383 here. 370 is a key level. I have this marked out just as white. If you zoom out here on the daily, all you got to do is look left. You can see a lot of reactions here. So this is a solid level that was being highly respected. But the way I'm looking at this is technically it kind of is in this range. So I would be a little cautious there. Just read the price action. If the price action's clean, I like the shot. You're also under the previous day low for that continuation lower. That looks really good. So watch that 383. Of course, you can mark out your PDL as well. But the higher time frame objective, let's see if we can get this retest here on Tesla off of 383. NVIDIA, range break. So we got the range breaks today. Pretty unfortunate it happened later into the session. We knew, like I said yesterday, look at NVIDIA, just sitting in a range of between 211 and 199. And we ended up getting the break today. So if you zoom in here on the 1 minute, I mean, that was beautiful. You got the break, good displacement, you got the retest, and then you got that continuation lower on NVIDIA. Probably would have been a little difficult to trade that with a 0 DTE, but remember guys, you don't have to trade a 0 DTE. So that being said, really the same thing here on NVIDIA. Today actually depends. I mean, we got 5 minutes here till market close, so I'm sure this daily candle will close under. But you're just looking for the continuation lower. So coming into tomorrow on NVIDIA, right, looking for that pullback short entry off of 199. You can see a very strong rally here coming into market close, or you can look for that continuation play under the PDL, but 199, that's going to be the main play here. Beautiful. You can see held to support, turn into resistance. I would love to see us turn this channel into resistance and get that continuation lower. So 199 is going to be the key level to watch. If we reclaim that, I'm pretty much hands off. I don't really care to trade back into the range. And then it would also be an inside bar day moving back up. So just read it. But what I have noticed is really the tech names have been in sync with the market itself outside of Amazon today. So that's something to keep in mind. Just make sure you pay attention to what the overall market is doing. Apple, dude, Apple is holding this. This thing is holding 294 on the dot. We ended up avoiding a peak and fell here. You can see the last 2 days health is very, very nice. This morning, peak and fell. What do we do when we fell a key level and reclaim it? We fuel that move higher. Why? Because either shorts getting squeezed out of their positions for a loss. We know that. So a very nice liquidity grab here. We fell under 294, and look at that. We pushed all the way back up to the top of the range. That's not a coincidence. So What are we looking for tomorrow on Apple? Just looking for this channel to turn into resistance. So I'm looking for a pop and fade or a break and retest off of 294 here on Apple. That would be really solid. It's a great RR to the downside. Really nothing in its way. So watch that on Apple, this 294. I would love to see this turn into resistance. And then Amazon, crazy day on Amazon. I mean, a crazy peak and fell. A crazy peak and fell. We're basically already back at the lower day, which is insane. You can see we had clear relative strength on Amazon. You got a beautiful break and retest over 236. We pushed all the way up here, and then we just gave that move right back. So I'm sure on the daily, this is a very big wick. Yeah, look at that. It's a very big wick. So a great intraday setup if you're able to catch that. Other than that, you're really just looking for that move lower here on 236. So you can look for that pop and fade off of 236 here, still a weekly level. Or starting to see a little reactions going on around this 232, so you wouldn't be wrong to look for a continuation lower under the previous day low. That looks pretty solid. You got about 3 to 4 solid reactions there, so that's not bad. So keep an eye out here on Amazon. Honestly, this week, I will say Amazon's really been giving some clean price action. I don't trade Amazon too much, but when it moves, it moves. So keep an eye out here on Amazon, but your 236 is going to be your key level going into tomorrow. As for your sides, so let's go to Hood. Watch Hood here. Remember, this was the weekly range breakout. This is what I mean when I say patient pays. You may not get your retest today, tomorrow, the next day. We got this breakout forever ago. And almost a trading week later, we're pulling back here to our weekly 95. We need to retest this. So either it's going to be a peak and fail, or it's going to hold on the retest and we get that move higher. See what I mean here? So we broke 95 on the weekly time frame. We're getting the retest. So be very cautious. Watch that. This is a great opportunity. If Hood, if buyers can step up here and defend this is a great swing trading opportunity. However you want to play it, right? There's no right or wrong way to play it, but 95 is your key level to watch. This is a break and retest on the weekly time frame. The higher the time frame, the better. So I would really, really watch it there. You can see key level, making our way back down to key level. So let's see if buyers can step up in this general demand area around 95. Google, a great example. This is pretty much following up off what I just explained here on Hood. You may get your retest today, you may get it tomorrow. You won't know until you know, but your job is to be prepared. We knew this on Google. We knew that. We've been talking about Google forever. It's just been stuck in a range in between 370, 351. What did Google do? It finally broke. What did we do the last 2 days? You waited for the retest. Today, if you were prepared and you were watching this, you got the retest on Google. You went short off at 351. You got a very nice push all the way down in the 341. That's a great trade. Just manage your risk. Stop trading to be correct or incorrect. Take high probability shots. Be a risk manager and let the probabilities play out. So this is a beautiful break and retest off of 351. Today, you got the retest. That was the game plan. So now on Google, you're really just looking for that continuation lower. You already got the retest today. You got the retest today. So you're just looking for that continuation lower. Give me 1 sec. The bell's going to ring. So you're just looking for continuation lower. So you can mark out that PDL if you want, and then look for that continuation lower here on Hood. I'm sorry, on Google. You can see a general demand area here. There's no coincidences. So you can see around this 341, 340 area, buyers do keep stepping up. You can clearly see that. That's 3 days in a row. So you can definitely look for this general area to turn into resistance. So I would keep an eye out here on the previous day low for that continuation lower there on Google. Palantir. So Palantir was a little tricky today because we gapped down tremendously during pre-market after hours. And then you can see we did a really good job filling the gap. I really did not expect us to fill the gap the way that we did, but we did. You're still looking for this pullback short off of 119. So if that sets up, fine. Or you can look for that break and retest under the previous day low or wait for your short under 109. Clearly not a name. If you zoom out, you can clearly see Palantir is in a downtrend. Very red on the year. If you zoom out here, we're pretty much just making new lows on the year. We just broke the range. No surprise. So the last 3 days, we have just been tanking to the downside. See how clean price action gets once we break these ranges? That's why I treat ranges as no trade zones. So you're just looking for continuation lower here on Hood until it really breaks structure. For me, a break of structure on Hood would be maybe back over 126. But nevertheless, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So look for your pop and fade off of 119. We really still need to retest that. Or, PDO, continuation lower, or short under 109. But it's in a downtrend. Don't counter trend trade. The trend is your friend. The dip is your best friend. Microsoft. Watch Microsoft. What do you notice? In a range between 381 and 365. You ended up breaking 381. You retested that. You got a daily double top here. So you had 2 days. Great opportunities here to catch this name. And one whole day, it went from 381 all the way down to the bottom of the range. That was beautiful. So now you're just looking for a break and retest under 365. Also under the previous day low, that is beautiful. This looks really good. It's a range break. A lot of confluences here. Remember, guys, all these trades off the higher time frame, they can be swing trades. If you scale out, maybe sell 90% of your position and leave some runners. That's how you catch these big wins. Like this is the key to growing a very small account. These are key inflection points in the market. Big structural inflection points. So just keep that in mind. You can treat them as a day trade like I do. You can scalp off of them. You can swing trade off of them. As I always say, there is no right or wrong way to trade. Remember that. Find whatever works best for you and what fits your personality. Nevertheless, going into tomorrow, 365. 365. This is the key level. Of course, if we gap under this, you're looking for a pop and fade off of it, or you're looking for a break and retest under it. but you know you're looking to short under 365. If strong buyers step up here, like it did yesterday, pre-market, and push back up to the top of the range, you can't be surprised. We're in a channel, bottom of the range, demand area. Let's see if buyers, push this thing higher and defend 365, or do they give it up and sellers take control and get that move lower? But we know Microsoft as well, just like Palantir, is very red on the year, pulling back here. So I'm looking for some downside here on Microsoft under 365. AMD. AMD. So AMD pretty much just stuck in this range here. Me personally, I haven't been trading AMD for obvious reasons. These contracts are through the roof, IVs through the roof. There's better names to trade. Nevertheless, you can see AMD pulled down to the bottom of the range here around this demand area, and you can see buyer stepped up and is pushing it back up, which is crazy. You can see during power hour and pretty much right now during after hours, we're already back at the high of day. So that should show you how strong this 500 level is on AMD. So you're really just waiting for the range break here on AMD. Over 457, under 500. If you want, you can look for the continuation play since we bounced. And also just a great little tip, right? If you're trading off the previous day high and lows, that's fine as long as you have context that supports it. Give me one second. What do I mean by context that supports it? Well, if I'm looking at a trade on AMD and I want to take a trade off the previous day high, I can see, all right, cool. This is a general supply area for the last 2 days. So I'm just going to say a daily double top today and yesterday, clearly as you can see. But we bounce off a demand area at the bottom of the range. So price is likely to continue higher back up to the top of the range. So if you're playing a break and retest over the previous day high, you're just playing the continuation back up to the top of the range after buyers already defended the bottom of the range here at 500. I hope that makes sense. So that's a good shot there over the PDH. If you want to look for that, you can see very, very strong here going into power hour. We basically just got back up. We did get back up to the high day here during power hour. So you can look for that on AMD. Still a very, very bullish name on the higher time frame. Intel, look at Intel. Look how strong. Right, we talked about this. You can see resistance turn into support, support, support. So we talked about Intel. 128 is a very strong level. You can see today, you can see yesterday, pre-market yesterday, last week, pre-market and after hours of last week, and before it turned into support, it was resistance. Very, very simple. Old resistance become new support and vice versa. So what are you looking for here on Intel? And you can see even here during power hour, very aggressive buyers pushing this thing back up towards the high of day. So what am I looking for? Well, this is a great confluence. If you can get under 128, you're under basically a daily double bottom here, clearly. If you can get back under that, and you're also under the previous day low, you're also making new lows on the week. You're breaking a key level. A lot of confluences there. Clearly, we bounced. So 133, key level to watch here. You can watch this break and retest over 133, targeting pretty much all-time highs. This is still a very, very bullish name. There's really nothing in its way as we get back up to all-time highs, as you can see. So very solid bounce here on the dot at power hour. Very aggressive buyer stepping up here. So that's the game plan tomorrow on Intel. Of course, you can look for, it's a trending name to the upside. So you can definitely look for a break and retest over this PDH here on Intel, targeting pretty much all-time highs. So that's something to keep in mind. You can target Tuesday's highs, that's unmitigated, and also Monday's highs. So you won't know until you know, but you can clearly see here during the after hours, very, very strong buyer stepping up. But the main thing is, look how strong 128 is being defended here. So buyers are really loving this 128 general area. And then SpaceX. So really nothing for me here on SpaceX. I talked about this yesterday. You can clearly see it's in a downtrend. So you can definitely look for a break and retest over this 165.50. That would be a trend line break. And you can see was support. We broke it, we turned it into resistance. Very, very simple there. So you would just want to see this general area turn back into support, trend line break, and you can see it push back to the upside. Hope this helps. Am I missing anything? Did I hit on IWM? I don't know if I hit on IWM. Nevertheless, I'll hit on IWM. IWM. Zoom out here on the daily. Very, very strong here. Very, very strong here on the daily. It's getting a little wicky up here. Getting a little wicky up here. I will say that. Not really a name I'm looking to short until we break structure, which will be under 292. Until then, you're really just looking for, a hold over 296, and you can get that push back up into all-time highs. You can see today we made new all-time highs. Seller stepped in, which is very normal. So still a very, very strong name. I think just based on how it's sitting right now on the daily, I really wouldn't touch it. I just don't like the way the price action is looking right now. I don't like how this daily candle closed around my 296 as well. So I don't really care to take a trade, but right, you won't be wrong looking for a long off of 296, targeting the top of the range. It's a bullish name. We just made new all-time highs today. Very, very strong. So that's something to keep in mind. There's better names to short if you do want to short a name. Other than that, I will see you guys on the next one.